So yesterday, CD Projekt Red, the developer of Cyberpunk 2077, disappointed a bunch of people by announcing the game had been delayed for the third time and that it would now be released on December 10th, 2020. But when I say disappointed a bunch of people, that's a bit of an understatement since some people apparently can't be just disappointed. No, for some people, the only possible solution to having to wait 21 days to play a video game is to want the people who are making that game to die. I kid you not. Cyberpunk 2077 senior game designer Andrzej Zawadzki, and I've probably butchered his name, so apologies there if so. Anyway, he shared a message one of the devs received, which said, "I know where you live, bro, release the game or you're finished." Another message they received read, "Release Cyberpunk or you and your family will be persecuted." And yet another goes on to say, "I will burn you alive if you don't release the game." And apparently there were worse messages that CD Projekt Red devs had to report, and I'm guessing that's a report to police as opposed to just Twitter and other social media platforms because, death threats are a very serious business. And if the devs on Cyberpunk and their families weren't already stressed enough too. Zawadzki followed up by saying he understands people were feeling pretty upset over the delay, but that, quote, "sending death threats to the developers is absolutely unacceptable and just wrong." The fact that he even needs to explain that might be seen as a very poor indictment on the state of the games industry right now, where death threats over inconsequential things have somehow become commonplace to the point that it needs to be repeatedly explained that it's the wrong thing to issue a death threat. I get it if people have booked days off or scheduled holidays to coincide with the original release date, or if they're so hyped for the game that they've convinced themselves they really can't wait. And people will fume about that, and fair enough. Nobody is saying you need to be happy about the delay. There's nobody who is happy about the delay, if we're honest. Well, maybe aside from publishers of games that are being released in November who now have significantly less competition, but even those guys won't be happy to hear that CD Projekt Red devs are getting death threats. While I was making this video, I kept thinking about Maslow's hierarchy of basic needs. Those needs include food, drink, shelter, sleep, and oxygen, but they don't include video games. That's not because games didn't exist back in the 40s when Maslow came up with his hierarchy, although actually that's kind of the point, isn't it? We don't need video games to survive. We've never needed video games to survive. A lack of video games does not mean your chances of making it through the night are gone, so by extension of that, there's no need to threaten anyone else's life over a video game either. Now, I don't think anybody other than CD Projekt Red knows how many of these death threats were actually received, but it's safe to say it'll be a tiny fraction of the whole wave of negative response to their delay announcement. Despite this, death threats have stolen the focus of Cyberpunk's recent negative news coverage. It's really a shame in my eyes, but that's exactly how it should be if we had to raise awareness and address this kind of extreme toxicity. But at the same time, we have to also be careful not to tarnish all gamers with the same brush. A lot of people will see headlines about death threats and label all gamers as lunatics. Yet if anything, from what I see, the vast majority of people have been lending their support to the devs, with most people, disappointed as they are over the delay, remaining just as excited to play Cyberpunk 2077 as ever. Zawadzki even said he was absolutely stunned with how many positive words and messages the devs at CD Projekt Red had received, and that's on the very day they announced the delay. So yeah, let's not lose sight of the fact that an overwhelmingly positive response is the real big picture here. Most people just want a great game to play and are willing to wait however long it takes to get exactly that. Anyway, that's all I really want to say on this issue. Feel free to have your own say in the comments below if you want. And hey, like the video if you're going to play Cyberpunk 2077, no matter when it gets released. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.